Good morning, majors. I hope that you guys are doing well. So you guys should have watched the video for this for these notes right here, multi-step equations, DCVAM. Okay, so you guys should have done all of this. I'm just going to go through the pages. You guys should have completed this as notes. You guys should have completed this. And then guess what? As always, we have multi-step equations practice for you. So here's the deal. I'm only going to do 2 of these. The rest of these, you're going to have to do on your own. So the first thing that we see is we see parentheses. When we see parentheses, we know we have to what? Distribute. When we distribute, the first thing we're going to distribute is the 5 to -7. That will give me a -35R. And then I have to distribute my 5 to the 1. And that will give me a +1. 5 times a +1 gives me 5. I'm going to bring down my -5R here. And then a -235. All right. What do I do next? I have to what? I have to combine my terms. The only 2 terms that I have that are the same are my -35R and my -5R. So that's going to give me a -40R plus 5 equals a -235. Now I'm going to subtract my 5s on both sides, right? Now I have a -40R equals a -230. Now I'm trying to get my variable by myself or by itself, so I divide by 40. Oop, not just 40, a -40. Look at Miss Hamblin over here making mistakes. So now it's going to be, let me type this into the calculator. I have a -235 or 230 divided by a -40, which gives me it gives me, 5.75. All right. Wonderful. So now we're going to do the same thing over here. Nothing changes. We see parentheses. We have to distribute. We're going to distribute. So I have a -102, which equals 6 times 6. It's going to give me 36K. And then 6 times 2 is going to give me a +12 plus 2K. Now I look to see where I can combine my terms. I have a +36K and I have a +2K. So I'm going to bring down my -102 equal sign. My +36K plus my +2 is going to give me 38K plus 12. Now, to get my variable by itself, I subtract my 12 on both sides. That's going to give me a 38K. And then I have a -114. What do? I divide by 38 on both sides. All right. You guys can do the work, push your buttons, and come up with an answer. So listen, I want you guys to continue. I want you guys to do number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. And you guys can stop there. All right. Now, multi-step equations part 2. You guys should have filled out these notes. Okay, you guys should have filled out these notes. And now we have multi-step equations part 2. I'm going to do the first 2 for you. The rest you will have to do by yourself. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to, The first thing we're going to do is we are going to distribute. So 8 times 7. 8 times 7 gives you 56. 56 plus 8 times 6. That gives you 48. That's a positive 48. And it's a 48n. Now I have a 6, I'm sorry. A 6 times, I'm sorry, it's a negative 6 times 1. So a negative 6 times 1 is going to give me a negative 6. A negative 6 times 8 is going to give me a negative 48n. Sorry, this should have been 48n. I make mistakes, you guys. So this should be plus and then 48n. All right? And it equals 5n plus 5n. Guess what we're going to do? You can only combine like terms on the same side of the equation side. So anything on this side you can combine, or anything on this side you can combine. So let's start with this. What can I combine? I have a positive 48 and a negative 48. If you were to push in your calculator 48 plus negative 48, what happens? They cancel each other out, which leaves me with a 56 and a negative 6. So you need to push in 56 plus negative 6, which is going to give you 50. Then I'm going to combine my 5n's because they're on the same side of the equal sign. So 5n plus 5n is going to give me what? 10n. My variable needs to be by itself. So because these are together, it's multiplication. We always do the opposite. So I'm going to divide by what? By 10. These cancel out. And now I have n. 50 divided by 10 is going to give me what? 5. This is mathematically incorrect. So it should say 5 equals, I'm sorry, n equals 5. This is your answer. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to distribute. 2 times 2 gives you 4a. 2 times 7 gives you what? A positive 14 equals, we're going to distribute again. 7 times 2 gives you 14a. And then you have 7 times 2 again, which is going to give you just a 14. Now, we can only combine like terms that are on the same side of the equation. So that means anything on this side that's alike we can combine, and anything on this side, on this side of the equation that's alike we can combine. There's nothing to combine here because there's only one 4a. And on this side, there's nothing to combine here because there's only one 14a. So what do we do now? We're trying to get get down to one variable. So what do? You move your smallest variable. So I have a 4a. So I'm going to subtract my 4a from this side and now move it to the other side. This is a positive 4a. We do the opposite. Those cancel out. That gives me 14. My minus sign. 14 plus negative 4 is going to give you what? Hold on, you guys. Sorry, I'm just going to keep talking. Anyway, so now we have 14 equals 10a plus 14. So we want to get the 10a by itself. What do? We have to get rid of our 14. So we're going to subtract negative 14 on both sides. That's going to give me 0. So what do? We divide by 10. 0 divided by 10 is going to be what? 0. All right. So I want, wait, before we go on, I want you to make sure that you complete number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6.
Good morning, Mount Vernon.
Okay, sorry, I had to pause it. Anyway, So I want you to 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. So now you guys should have completed multi-step equations part 3. You should have completed all this. Here we go. So now I'm going to do 1 and 2 for you. You're going to have to do the rest on your own. When you're solving a proportion, we're going to do cross multiplication. So that means that we're going to take what we have here and we're going to multiply it, and we're going to take what we have here and we're going to multiply it. Why? Because they're a proportion. So I'm going to take my 11n minus 2, and then I'm going to take my 10n plus 11. Guess what we do? We distribute first to solve. So this becomes 11n, and negative 22 equals, and what do we do again? We distribute. This becomes 10n. 10 times 11 gives you 110. So I should have a positive 110. Are we done yet? No. We're trying to first get rid of our variable. There's nothing on this side of the equation that we can combine. Just like there's nothing on this side of the equation that we can combine. So we're going to subtract the negative 10n and negative 10n. These cancel out. 11n minus 10n is going to give me what? 1n minus 22, which equals 110. So what I'm going to do, oh, this is supposed to be 22, sorry. And negative 22. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add 22 on both sides. These cancel out. So now I have 1n equals 110 plus 22, which is going to give me 132. And then what do? I divide by 1. So now my n is what? 132. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to cross multiply. So I have a 2n minus 12. And then I have a 3n plus 3. And then what do? We distribute. So this is 2n. And then 2 times 12 is a negative 24 equals. And then we got a 3n. 3 times n is 3n. And then 3 times 3 plus is 9. What do we do first? I'm going to get rid of my smallest variable. There's nothing on this side that we can combine. Just like there's nothing on this side that we can combine. I'm going to subtract my 2n and subtract my 2n. That leaves me with a negative 24. I have a 1n plus 9. What do? I'm trying to get my variable by itself, so I have to subtract 9 from each side. A negative 24 plus 9 plus a negative 9. So a negative 24 plus a negative 9 gives you what? A negative 33 equals 1n. What do? Divide by 1. These cancel out. My n becomes a negative 33. You guys, I want you to finish 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Love you guys dearly. Bye.